Hi guys, welcome back to Vedic Astrology. Today we are going to be talking about 7th lord in all houses of your zodiac signs. This video is going to be very important and I will urge you guys to please spend first 5-7 minutes to understand what is this going to mean for you before you rush into the sections that you are interested in. See, this is the most critical house after the first house in this entire playlist. Why? And when I say first house, it means the ascendant, the lagna, whatever you may want to call it. Why? Because it represents your partnership. And this partnership can be of any form. This partnership could be in the form of business. This partnership could be in the form of your life partner, your spouse. It represents contracts in your life. It represents commitment. It is 180-degree opposite to you. So it also represents what is right in opposition. Please understand, this is not challengers. This is not your competition. But this is your opposition. Somebody who's going to show the mirror to your face. This is like a reflection of yourself. So many of you come to my live sessions, post your comments, and you keep asking me, Dave, what is the kind of spouse I would meet? What kind of nature, personality traits, rich or poor, what sort of career would they have? All of this has to be analyzed from this house itself. It's a very important house because it is going to, in a way, depict the rise and fall of your life. It is going to help you understand what is going to have happen in the second half of your life or the second chapter of your life. It is going to define the success and failures that you are going to achieve after your lagna. So it becomes absolutely critical. This house is 7th from your lagna. It is 6th from your second. So it is going to be critical because it is showing the challenges, the complications, the problems that you are going to see from your family front. It is 5th from the third house, which means that all the efforts, all the energy that you put, the natural karmic punya that you are carrying from your past life is also going to be reflected with this house and its lord. It's 4th to 4th. It is the happiness, the satisfaction that you are going to construe and then lead into your own life. The asset of your assets is seen from this house. It is third from your fifth house. Means that whatever punya you've carried from the last life, it is going to extend that further into this life with your own efforts. It is second to the sixth. It is the outcome of your daily routine. It is the culmination of what you find in your life based on what you fight for. It is an important house because being bang opposite to your lagna, it tells you that where you lack and where you need to improve. Some of you might be smiling while watching this because a lot of times your spouse does that. If you're not married, you would have seen your parents doing it. Your mom would be, reflecting on your father, or your partner might be reflecting on you and continuously giving you feedback, and this is where you need to improve, or this is where you could do better. They would be acting like a support system. Or in a bad situation, they could be causing a lot of problems in your life. Many of the audience, the seekers who are listening to this video right now, would have that sort of an experience as well. It is 12th to your 8th house. So remember, 8th house shows longevity. It shows how long a person could live. And that is why 7th house becomes a maraka, like the second house. Why? Because second house is a reflection of the 8th house. And 7th house is 12th to that 8th house. Second house is also 8th to the 7th house. So I hope you see how beautiful astrology is and how easily the dots get connected. It is 11th from your 9th house. It is the gains of your fortune, of your luck, which is reflected through the 7th house itself. It is 10th from 10th. Why so many people say that there is a rise in your social stature, or why perception of a person change after they start running a business in a certain partnership, they start executing something, or they get married and there is a certain upliftment in the status of a person, either through their husband or through their wife, because it is 10th from 10th. 7th house, before I forget, is also a reflection of the public in life, especially if you want to rise high in life. And that is where I'm making that 10 to the 10th connection as well. From the 11th house, it is 9th, means that the desires that you have in life, fortune of that, culmination of that, will happen in connection through the 7th house. You see how critical it is becoming. And it is 8th from the 12th, means it is the unexpected support, the motivation, the courage that you can derive when fighting against unexpected situations. So when you look at the 7th house, most importantly, it being 180-degree opposite to what you are, it is going to define, it is a Kendra house as well. So it has paramount importance like 1, 4, 7 and 10. But very importantly, this particular house is going to govern a major part of your life in different ways. For all of us, the connotations and meanings of the impact of the 7th house is going to be different. But the importance of this cannot be diminished. I want to emphasize on the fact, before we jump onto reading of the placement of this house and each of the other signs. I want to call out that there are certain planets that become important karakas, like Jupiter and Venus, are absolutely critical. A lot of people ask me that, Dave, my 7th lord is debilitated, my 7th lord has afflictions through a Rahu or a Ketu. What is going to happen? How are things going to get fixed? When 7th lord has an aspect or presence of a Jupiter or a Venus, which are natural benefics, a lot of the problems, even a debilitated Venus or a debilitated Jupiter, if aspecting this house, that is going to solve a lot of the issues in your marriage. It is going to help impact the longevity of the marriage in itself. A debilitated 7th lord could have lots of troubles depending on where it is going and sitting. But if Jupiter is aspecting either the 7th lord or the 7th house or both, same goes with Venus, either sitting in the 7th house or aspecting from the ascendant, it is going to make the life of this particular native much easier or much pious as well. Similarly, if you have presence of negative malefic planets here, it is going to bring a lot of complications in your life as well. A Saturn's presence in this house could bring delays. Remember, it may not necessarily mean a divorce kind of a situation. Because a lot of times people come to me and ask this question. It is not necessarily meaning divorce. Why? Because Saturn at the end of the day is a planet of justice. So it is going to bring justness to your relationship, to your marriage commitment, to your business commitments as well. But it could bring in delays. It could bring in certain problems where you'll have to learn few things and make sure that you walk on the right path to achieve success. Presence of a planet like Jupiter and Venus I've already touched upon, but a mild malefic like Sun could cause problems. A lot of you who watch my videos, you've heard about this as well. I keep on saying Jupiter's presence here also is tricky, but it is still not a bad situation because Jupiter is a very pious and benefic planet. A planet like Moon is still auspicious, especially if it's in its own sign or friendly signs. It brings a lot of conducive environment, milieu to your married life, to your partnership life. But the presence of Rahu Ketu can be absolutely tricky, and it could be very, very dangerous, even if they are present in their own comfortable, friendly signs. Presence of Mars, as we say, causes Mangal dosha. That could be tricky. Now, having a Mangal dosha doesn't mean that your life is all doomed. No. Again, there's a lot of negative connotation in the minds of the people regarding that. But yes, its presence, it's going to bring certain set of challenges. It will have its energy, malefic energy imbibed in there. So you have to understand the presence of the planets, the kind of Rashi or zodiac the seventh house is the ownership of, and then very importantly, what is the placement of the seventh lord, and if or not it is in conjunction with some other planet or not. Because now the conjunction will also become absolutely critical. And the reason I call out that the conjunctions will become critical is that the energy of the seventh lord will be impacted by the additional energy. If it is in conjunction with Mars or Sun or Jupiter or Moon or Rahu and Ketu, you will see those impacts coming into your life. Remember, the seventh lord is representing everything in front of you, a reflection of you. It could denote multiple partnerships or multiple associations, even in a contractual agreement, be it multiple live-in relationships, be it multiple marriages that you might have, could be seen through those conjunctions itself. While that topic will become, a topic of different video altogether, but keeping in mind that you would want to understand what is the impact of the seventh lord in different houses, I wanted you to understand the gravity of how important this house is, and that is why I requested you to please listen into this portion. So now we will get started with seventh lord in the first house. Now what's happening, guys? First house is a reflection of everything about you. It is your physical self, your head, your entire personality. It is the most important house. And the second most important house of your birth chart, its lord is coming and sitting in the first house itself. So first and foremost, what's going to happen is that in your life, your business partners or your spouse or the general populace in itself will become of paramount importance. One thing I can assure you, that in this case, when the seventh lord is going 7 places away from itself, understand this construct is going to be very important because it's going to change when seventh lord is in its own sign. When seventh lord is going 7 places away from itself, what is it doing? It is going in opposition to itself. So the native who has, if you have this combination present in your chart, you are going to be very, very devoted towards your partner. But it is also highly probable that you are the one who's going to dictate what is going to happen in the life, in the married life, so to speak, between the two of you. You could be a person who's extremely workaholic and motivated. It brings a entrepreneurial, self-driven ability to the minds of the natives, to the behaviors of the natives, and you are going to most of the time dictate the terms of this commitment and partnership. You are going to bring ideas, and when I say dictate the terms, it should not be seen in a negative sense. It should be anticipated in a very positive aspect, in terms of you driving the future of the relationship, the future of the partnership with a vision. So you will be the visionary partner in this relationship, setting stone for what is going to happen. Okay, this is a combination in which you will find that you are a person who will take meticulous planning, strategizing efforts to make your partner happy. They will be the center of your attention. And you would want to drive and figure out that what you should be doing or how this marriage should work to make it a successful partnership. Same goes in terms of your business relationships as well. It's a very strong yoga for you to be an entrepreneur, because being a workaholic, if you are working with your partners, and partners just doesn't mean the people who are in a certain equity split in your own company. Partners could be the partner companies that are working with you. Say you run a digital marketing agency and you are reaching out to certain clients. They are your partners. You are going to set the vision of this partnership with your clients. So you see, it brings a lot of leadership quality as well. When Lagna Lord is sitting in Lagna itself, or Sun is sitting, there is a leadership, trait is what we refer to. This is another situation in which you will depict that leadership trait in yourself. If specifically Venus is sitting in this case, then you would be very much driven by beauty. You will be motivated by beauty as well, and you will have specific interest in terms of bringing all luxuries and beauty not just to yourself but in the life of your partner as well. So it's a very critical aspect. Now at the same time, a tricky situation could be when a planet like Mars comes and sits, say, you are a Libra ascendant and you have Aries as your seventh house, and Mars comes and sits in Lagna. Yes, all those things that we are talking about will still hold true. However, the tricky part would be now this Mars is going to bring a portion of aggression in itself. So it is going to drive you in terms of dictating your terms. You will be full of energy, and if your partner is not able to match your energy, that is where tussles will start coming into play. This is also, as I said, Marka is coming into your Lagna. So a tricky situation could be that every time you are going through the Antardasha, Pratyantardasha, or the Mahadasha of this particular planet of your seventh house, you should be open to bear any kind of financial or health related losses, or even the married life or business partnership could see some sort of turbulences in itself. But remember, no matter what happens, since it is coming and sitting in the Lagna, it is going to give a direct aspect to the seventh house itself. So it would try and save that situation. It will try and come out of it. It is much better situation when compared to the second house Marka, which we talked about in the second Lord video. If you've not had a chance, please go back and reflect to it. So I hope that gives you some understanding as to how this seventh Lord coming into the first house is panning out for you. Now, we will talk about the seventh Lord moving 8 places away to the second house. This is a good combination. Good combination in the sense that from a family growth perspective, from a wealth addition perspective, from your quality of life perspective, there is going to be a significant impact of your life partner or change, improvement of the same happening post marriage. You will see a rise of your wealth post marriage. Your partner could be a person who could believe in healthy savings. It could be a situation where you might find a person who is extremely interested in different kinds of cuisines, or have deep interest in terms of financial management. In fact, in this case, as well as in the first, you will notice that the partner will be very family oriented. They would want to keep your immediate family together in a bond. So this combination will bring you a partner who will want to expand the happiness within the family. Now, any partner for that matter would want to do so, or hopefully, ideally, that should be the situation. But this scenario is a very positive case in that respect. The other bit is that your partner could be working or helping you from a family profession or a family business in itself. They could join hands with you and work with you. They could be the reason of some sudden gain in your life. They could bring some sudden wealth, sudden gains that could benefit you. And I'm talking about gains, not losses here, because of the 8th connection, but it is going into the second house, especially if it is a benefic. It is going to bring that positive growth to your life. They could help you, introduce you to different kind of cuisines, or they might be working in a industry in itself which is related to food or communication. In this case, you will find that the partner that you are married to, or even the business associations that you are having, they are very soft speaking person. If it is a Mercury, if it is a Venus or Moon, they are very soft spoken. On the other hand, if it is a Saturn, they could be very direct. They would not lie to you. They will be very, very direct, upfront. No bars hold. That sort of a communication should come with this sort of a partner. On the negative side, or on the trickier situation, and a lot of you will get surprised, but I am going to give you certain combinations which can be tricky from from your life partner perspective. See, Marka Lord is going to the Marka Sthan, right? It is going, one Marka Lord is going to the another Marka house, and it is going to be aspecting your 8th house, which is the house of longevity. Now, in a tricky, bad situation, if this Lord is having certain kind of afflictions, it could bring certain explicit relationships in the life of your partner. It could bring explicit relationships in the life of your partner. It could form a combination of gain of marriages as well, or a sudden end of this marriage leading into the other marriage, which has to be, of course, seen from your 9th house. But it could bring that sort of a situation where within a family construct, you might have an illicit relationship. So that is the tricky bit here. The other bit is the Marka is going to the Marka. So the strength of it is definitely going to increase. It is going to be a tricky situation in terms of the Antar and Pratyantar Dashas that you are going to go through the course of this life. Now, a lot of times I see people saying, Dev, it's not happening in my chart. I'm a pious person. I don't have any relationships. And your prediction is inaccurate. And you guys leave a bunch of comments there. But guys, please understand that something, if it is not being applicable on your chart, doesn't mean it doesn't hold true. There could be different combinations, an aspect of a benefic planet coming into play, either to your 7th house or to your 7th Lord, which could be changing things for you. Or maybe your 7th Lord is getting Vargottam in the other divisional charts, in your Navamsa, right? And that could change things. But it may not mean that this will not apply to others. And I'm calling this specific situation around because in one of the previous videos, there were a bunch of comments, and incidentally, a week later, I had a personal reading where exactly this situation was found, where the lady who was having a discussion with me was having an affair. And she had her own reasons. I'm nobody to judge there. Her spouse's chart had a Saturn sitting in the 9th house, lost interest in all kind of romantic connection. So she had to find some solace somewhere, right? Now, whatever could be the situation, it does give a possibility in this kind of a situation, and I wanted you guys to be aware of it. I've touched upon the Marka aspect as well from an 8th angle. However, broadly speaking, this is a good combination. It is a good combination in terms of sudden growth of your business as well. You might land up into some sort of a contract. It's a very good yoga again for having a business, where you could land with a contract which is very, very unexpected to you and derive gains out of it. In this combination, you will also notice that because of the aspect to the 8th house, the joint asset or the joint accumulation of wealth with your spouse will grow over a period of time. You are going to see expansion on that front as well. All right. Now we are going to talk about 7th Lord moving into the 3rd house. It is going 9 places away from itself, and it is going into a challenging house. From one Kam Trikon to the other, and it's going to a lower Kam Trikon version. Now, what's important for you to understand, and I keep on saying in this channel that we have to learn to rule our planets, that this is an example where you should be expecting to continuously work on your relationship. You will have to work. You will have to put in efforts, hard work, which is all the traits that are seen from a third house perspective, you will have to put in that hard work in terms of continuously evolving your relationship over a period of time. This partner could be, like in India, we see a lot of possibilities of arranged marriages. In fact, in lot many cultures where you could get introduced to your spouse, your partner through your father or some elderly figure. I know a person from my engineering batchmate with this combination who got married to his boss. So that is another example of this ninth connection happening into play. So you will have to figure out that how it could transpire in your case. There is a possibility that you could meet your spouse through your younger siblings, or one of the friends of your younger siblings in itself could become your spouse at a future point in time. That is another possibility. Lot of you would have seen that people tend to find their life partner within their community. You live in large societies, communities, and you just suddenly start interacting with somebody, or there is some sort of a connection between the parents and they introduce you, and there is a visit between the neighbors, and the relationship pops up. This is one of the key examples where you will find that the seventh lord is sitting in the third house and they had a relationship blossoming through this case. I am not committing that this is a case of love marriage, because there are different combinations to that and we will touch upon that as well. But this is definitely a combination in which you could find that your partner could share similar hobbies like you. Like both of you are gym partners. Very, very prominent. Because Mars and Saturn, see, they are the Karaka of the third house. Or you could be in some sort of sports, both of you interested in it and spending time and doing that. In fact, you could see the possibility of you guys picking up something of that sort. This is another combination in which husband and wife together might find a side hustle together. You are doing your day jobs, but you combine together to start something selling on Amazon, or open a e-commerce channel of yours, or come onto a digital media platform like a YouTube or an Instagram and do some joint gigs together. We see so many couples doing that. Very strong probability and connection. That is not the only way, by the way, guys. I have to put in so many caveats these days because people are dropping in comments and assuming that this is the only scenario. No, there are other possibilities as well, but this is one of the possibilities that could come into play. Right? So it's very interesting. This is one, again, a tricky situation where in some cases, and again, I have seen a couple of examples here, that could result into having a third party situation. This is for the native. For you, if you have your seventh lord sitting in the third house, you could have a third party situation, not your spouse. So that is another possibility that comes into play. Before I get to the trickier aspect, from a ninth aspect perspective, I also feel that there is a very strong spiritual bonding and connection that you can form with your partner. In fact, one of the remedies in this combination, because this is a third house, you will have to work hard, but sitting at the third, the Lord is going to be aspecting your ninth. Spiritual bonding, or doing pilgrimages, or taking short distance visits to a church, a temple, or whatever religious places you believe in. Doing that on a regular basis will be a very strong situation for you to improve on your relationship, on your association. In fact, from a business partnership perspective as well, it could denote a turbulent business partnership, but having some sort of regular getaways at your work front with your partner. A lot of times companies run these retreats where they want to spend a weekend over once in a quarter, once in a year, whatever works for different startups and companies. That sort of a thing is a remedy. It's a natural remedy. People come to me for consultations. I do not ask people to buy legumes and rice and throw something on the street or over the water and stuff. Most of the people who've taken consultations, they know the kind of practical remedies I talk about. Because at the end of the day, it's about changing your lifestyle. So you have to think on these scenarios and spend your energy in these areas, and you will see the benefits out of it. The tricky situation, again, as I said, because there's a third degree effort, third aspect or third house energy of putting in effort or going and exploring things, it tends to bring that exploratory nature in your marriage as well. And that is where it can be a little worrisome for your marriage. In fact, in your business partnership as well, you might scout for possibilities where the moment you see that the business is not doing well, or if you see you have a business partner who's showing this kind of trait, you can go and see in their birth chart, they will have this kind of a situation where the moment the business going gets tough, they would try and figure out if they can sneak out of this business, explore something else, go back to a corporate job. Like they want to find a quick solution, a quick fix, instead of fighting out that problem. And the solution is you have to continuously work towards that business relationship. If you are in public life, you have to continuously work towards maintaining that image, that brand equity in the marketplace, or else it's going to be very, very challenging. But yes, if you aspire to run business, if you aspire to do something enterprising, it is not a bad combination, and you will reap benefits out of it. If it is a malefic, I think you will have much more strength, energy, and focus to come out of it. A Mars or a Saturn may actually be helping you out in this scenario. When seventh lord goes into the fourth house, now the seventh lord is going 10 places away from itself. So what's going to happen? What you are going to find is that your life partner is going to be one extremely emotional, or bring a lot of emotions in you. He or she may be the person who would be your listening board. They would listen to anything that you would want to bounce off through them. They could maintain a very peaceful, serene, calm, outlook towards marriage. They could be, they could bring that motherly, nurturing, caring behavior into the relationship. Seventh lord in fourth would also mean, when it is going 10 places away, that there will have to be continuous effort your spouse will have to put with your mother. They may have to, like, your mother could have certain physical or any kind of issues where your partner would devote themselves as well toward this. They will burn their karma towards your mom, and it's a beautiful thing. I don't see that as a negative. I think that's a build up to good dharma in a future life. So what you would also find is that there will be a remarkable improvement in your mental peace. You will feel settled, calm, relaxed post your marriage. You will build assets. You will upgrade the quality of assets you have post marriage. Say you were driving a compact sedan, you are going to expand to a luxury car. That is going to happen post marriage in this sort of a combination. Seventh lord in the fourth, it's going 10 places away from itself. It could also bring a situation where you meet your spouse in a work environment or through your work. They could be a person who might meet you in a in a in a public setting in itself, in a public meeting, so to speak. That could be the first interaction that you might have with your spouse. It is a kendra to kendra connection. So I find this to be one of the powerful good connections to happen in your chart. It is a possibility that they might, in a malefic situation, they might come across a little more aggressive. And I should not say this as a negative, but they could be more successful than you from a career perspective than you are, especially if it is a strong planet sitting there. So they will be of the expansionist mindset. They would want to grow. But in all situations, they will bring all these traits in terms of helping you grow as well. They will work on you. They will work with you to bring that development in terms of your assets, in terms of your family, in terms of your social stature. The only challenge that I expect is that if it is a malefic, there the relationship of your spouse with your mother could be difficult. Why? Because see, the 10th aspect denotes karma. It denotes efforts. But at the same time, those efforts could be in a turbulent way if the planets are not in sync in this case. Now we will talk about seventh lord moving into the fifth house. It is one of the most beautiful connections that is coming into play. Karma trikon is going into dharma trikon, the house of your past karmas, your past collected punya that you have with you. It is the house of romance. It is the house of creativity. It is the house of your children, your kids. And it is going 11 places away from itself. So, first and foremost, romance is going to increase in your life post marriage. It is not necessarily a sign of you having a love marriage. Please understand this. No matter what the setting is, love is going to expand and grow in this marriage. It's a beautiful, beautiful combination. People who have this are really fortunate. So seventh lord forming a connection. Even fifth lord video, if you guys have watched that, in that I told you fifth lord coming to seventh will be a love marriage. But in this case, all your desires, all the growth, the money, income, the expansion in your network, all of that is going to happen once your partner walks into your life. Once you will start seeing the fruits of it coming to fruition the moment, like they even before marriage, when this person walks into your life, you will see all these positive vibes striking. We've seen in these movies, right? When somebody walks around, there are bells ringing and there is music and guitar and all that stuff. That's going to happen with you guys. Even if it is an arranged marriage, love marriage, whatever is the situation, this is going to be a terrific combination. You have some sort of karmic connection with your partner. Them coming here, see, and it's so interesting. Seventh lord is moving 11 places away from itself, and from there it is giving an aspect to the 11th house as well. Beautiful. So they are going to bring that growth, that success that you would have always desired for, aspired for. People with this combination, no matter how shitty your life is going, and I hope your Navamsa is not giving some terrible combination, which shouldn't be, because I strongly believe 95% of your predictions of your analysis can be done through your Lagna chart itself. So if this combination is coming into play, you will see that no matter how difficult your life has been, post your marriage or this partner coming in your life, there will be an uptick. You will start cracking things like anything. There is going to be a lot of positivity in terms of this relationship. You will create a family which will be very nurturing towards your kids as well, very caring, loving, assigning or rather giving good values to your children will be the top priority of your partner. They will be very much engrossed in your kids as well. Like they would really care as to what kind of education they are having, what sort of extracurricular activities are they picking, what sort of activities should we focus on for the development and growth of the kids. This person, this spouse of yours, could be financially extremely prudent. Your spouse could come with very solid degree, high quality education in this case. They could be again, very good financial advisors to you, better advisors than yourself. In this case, of course, you have to look at the other planets, your own fifth lord as well. But in this case, you should listen to the advice of your partner. They are going to give you suggestions, recommendations, ideas, creative ideas, which are going to overall improve your life. And that is why I'm saying all your wish fulfillment, whatever goals you are setting in life, if you want to be a millionaire, go and talk to your spouse, share your dream with them. They are going to help you achieve this. Guys, it's a very fortunate combination. So you have to think in all those terms as well. Now, I will not say that there is a tricky situation, but some people might not like this kind of an environment where your spouse could be very, very outgoing. Like they might have a huge network in place, more friends that you would have yourself had. They could be extremely extroverted in nature. A lot of guys might feel uncomfortable with their wife or spouse, having more friends than him. But yes, that is the kind of person you'll have. But let them be, because that is the kind of quality that they bring, and it makes your life better. So do not try to curb that strength of your partner. Let it blossom, because it is going to help you grow. These are going to be very, very good committed partners, very good partners in your life. So trust in them. Let yourself loose and follow the footsteps of your partner, because they are going to prioritize you and they are going to help you grow eventually. Okay, so I hope you've liked this. We will now talk about 7th Lord going into the 6th house. I smile because it is a challenging combination. Now the planet is going 12 places away from itself. And it is a tricky one, because it is going into the 6th house as well. What does 6th house represent? It represents your daily regime. It represents your challenges, your competition. It represents medicine. It represents legal affairs. It represents banking and stuff as well. So what you would notice here is that on a positive light, and let's start with positives. See, you could find a partner who is actually associated with professions related to all this stuff. You could get married to a lawyer, to somebody in the judicial system, somewhere in the hierarchy, a judge, or an office worker working in courts and stuff, or some sort of government authority which has to deal with legal proceedings and stuff, anything of that sort. They could be working in a hospital or in a medical industry, in the pharma industry, biotechnology, whatnot. That is another possibility. It could be that your spouse is some sort of a fighter. Like they will have a fighting spirit in them. Understand? It's a good thing. It could mean that they are in an army or a police sort of a profession which requires them to be physically fighting, overcome competition or enemies and stuff. Or it could also mean that they generally fight for something in their life. They fight for something. They take a stand against something. And this is a good thing to have, because what's going to happen is 6th house is the representation of your enemies as well. And if everything is going well, if there's a benefic aspect, because we're talking about the good stuff, your partner could help you fight your enemies. But on a tricky day, your partner could be your biggest enemy. They could be the cause of a lot of problems. And that is why people say that when we talk about legal proceedings and when it goes 12 places away from itself, it could be the reason of divorce. Divorces are seen from the 6th house. It could be a reason of you having some medical issue because of the influx of your partner in your life. And please take this with a pinch of the salt. But yes, I've done too many readings of divorced people, and I've seen just too many of these scenarios coming into play. The 6th connection, 7th Lord going to 6th house or the 7th Lord going to the 12th, the 6th connection, medical issues, they do crop up. Remember, when 7th Lord will go 6 places away, it is them. But in this case, you. So, if not divorce, which is the ultimate, the pinnacle of the problem, as I would see it from that perspective, is that there could be a lot of influx of challenges in your life. You might have a fighting partner ready to fight hands in hand, shoulder to shoulder with you. But then you guys are facing so many challenges that they just keep coming in your life, and that is very much a possibility. Once you get married, you face a lot of problems. Those problems could be legal issues, litigation, financial issues, loans, etc. Some sort of financial problem comes in. You both are in mortgage loans, not able to pay, purchased a home at a very high price, and she's fighting with you or he's fighting with you, shoulder to shoulder, but still you guys are facing that problem. So that is another situation that you can see in this scenario. This could also mean that, especially people, when you have 7th Lord as Saturn and 6th Lord is Saturn as well, you will find that your partner will be, because it is coming into in its own house itself, not necessarily means that the Aquarius ruler going into Capricorn will result into divorces. No. It means that, your partner could be somebody who is very disciplined or appreciates discipline as well. They could be pet lovers as well, big time pet lovers. They could be in the pet business, so to speak, into pet breeding and stuff. So many people here in US do that as a full-time job, as a full-time work. They could be into dog sitting or pet sitting kind of activity as well, and in fact bring growth. In fact, Saturn being the lord of seventh and coming into sixth in a good situation might actually improve your financial situation through these kind of businesses or these kind of activities. So not everything. There are so many things that have to play out in Vedic astrology that we have to see it with a very open mind. If this planet is coming 12th to itself, but it is getting Vargotama in some other chart, things change, right? It not necessarily means that you are going to go through a divorce. No. However, the situation will be tricky if you have a retrograde planet sitting here. In fact, retrograde in 6th, 7th and 8th are all tricky. So that is something you will have to see the kind of planet it is and what kind of degrees it is sitting in and what kind of aspects. Are there any conjunctions as well? And based on that, you will have to understand that how it's going to pan out for you. When the 7th lord is sitting in the 7th house itself. This is another good, interesting combination. See, on a good day, again, Jupiter, Venus, benefics, when they are sitting here, more or less, you have a good life. As you know, in this case, which is, and I'll refer back to the point I was making in terms of 7th lord going into the first house versus in 7th lord sitting in the 7th house itself. Now, it is aspecting the Lagna. And it is sitting in its own place. Means your partner has to be the person who will be advising and guiding you for your growth. It was the reverse when I was talking about 7th lord in first house. You understand? Here your partner is going to be the person who is going to dictate the terms, rule, and they are the ones who are going to guide you, and you have to follow their footsteps. Sometimes, see, when Marka is sitting in Marka, and we've referred to that in the second house connection as well. When Marka is sitting in Marka, challenges will be there. So it is not an easy combination. In most of the houses, we say planet in his own sign in its own house is very comfortable. But remember, in this case, marriage will have some or the other issue no matter what. And that is why there has to be a submission to your partner. So that Marka cancellation comes into play. So that is one bit. However, all those issues of negativities through this Marka that can arise will be washed away if you have an aspect of Venus or Jupiter. Again, these two benefic planets, these two, and both cases. So if you are a girl and you're thinking the Jupiter's aspect is only necessary, no, Jupiter or Venus. And same way for a guy. Any of these two planets, if they are aspecting, they are, because Jupiter has 5, 7, 9 aspects, right? In case of Venus, it has to be either sitting here or aspecting here. And similarly, Jupiter can sit here. Turbulence will be there. So if Jupiter and Venus, they are the Lord and they are sitting there, turbulence will be there. But the marriage will still survive and go through. But in any other cases, there will be a lot of problems, and that problem, even with 7th Lord sitting in 7th house, can result into a divorce. Remember this. That is the negative that I wanted to refer. Only savior will be Jupiter and Venus's aspect. So that will be on a negative side. Now, from a business partnership perspective as well, it could give a lot of rise in your ego. So you will have to succumb to your partner's ego, your business partner's ego. If you want to drive the business with your whims and fancies, that is not how things are going to pan out. If you are in a large, corporate side of setup, your partners will be the one who are going to be dictating terms. They are the one who are going to set the terms and conditions of how the partnership is going to evolve. Very likely you will see your partner will be very successful in this case. People who are having 7th Lord in 7th house, their partner will be more successful or a bigger brand. You are running a company, digital marketing agency. I'll go back to the same example. But you are a smaller firm trying to get business from a humongous brand like a Google, Meta, or whatever companies you can think of. And those large companies are going to dictate the terms. They are going to have rules in terms of how they are going to work in terms of procurement, and you have to align with them. Same way in your marriage as well. Your partner in this case will be extremely successful. So if you're a guy and let's say Venus is sitting here, or even Jupiter is sitting here, your spouse is going to have more success. Now, that just doesn't mean financial success, guys. It could mean anything depending on the sort of planet we're talking about. So, they could have bigger asset. They might have acquired or inherited some property or something, and you've not had that amount of land or real estate with you. They might get a bigger car or a brand. Something will be bigger in stature when compared to you. 100%. And in business partnerships, a lot of times you will see that you will end up partnering with bigger brands, bigger companies than yourself. Good part is that, again, this is a very, very nice combination for business partnership. In fact, if you have this thing in your chart, you can go out and partner with anybody. And if your spouse has it, go and partner with your spouse. You're going to make a lot of money. So it's an excellent combination in terms of growing your wealth. Sort of a dhan yoga in itself. The 7th house is the representation of business. I said 7th to 1, 7th to 2nd, and 7th and 7th. Another very good combination. This is going to be a wealth creation combination. In this case, there is another good thing, interesting thing rather. You could meet your spouse some very long-term connection. Like there will be some very old connect with your spouse. And once you meet them, then you will realize, what the heck? Why didn't we meet before? So that kind of a scenario will come into play. Like they will be very close to you. They will be in front of you and unseen. And then they will come in your life. In this case, your partner, see the reflection that I was referring to in the first case, your partner will reflect back everything that is happening in your life. That is another thing that will come into play. But overall, I think this is a beautiful combination. It is a very good Raj Yoga. I think as a native as well, you are going to do very well in life. Maybe you set up your own business and your spouse ends up owning a bigger brand of car, or the way you guys have worked out the construct that you actually, for tax purposes or whatever reasons, you give the the ownership of those assets in your partner's name. But in this combination, you will have a very, very successful business scenario. Some of you might even ask me that, Dave, in your career consultations, that is business the only route? Yes, absolutely. You can go for business. There are combinations where 10th Lord sitting in 6th and 10th, and those combinations also come into play, with 7th Lord being in 7th. My answer to you guys is, at some point in time, you will quit everything and be in business itself, because this is one of the best yogas for that enterprising lifestyle. Now we will talk about 7th Lord going into the 8th house. Now Marka is going into the house of longevity. It is going into second to itself. It is going into building the assets. First and foremost, this is a combination of lot of wealth building or joint assets coming into play. You will have a lot of assets built with your partner. Their family, or rather your in-laws, would also have a key role in terms of guiding you, recommending you, suggesting you, or even doing partnership with you to build those joint assets or joint wealth together. So it's a good combination from that perspective. This is another combination in which the Marka going into 8th, it is going second to itself. So it is sort of a cancellation coming into play. You see, it is a different Marka into Marka, 7th to house to 2nd. I gave a different prediction. Here I am saying it is a cancellation in a way. So it is a good thing that might happen. Usually, most people will say that anything going into the 8th is not great. And I kind of agree to that, because I'm not happy when a Jupiter or a Venus, Sun, Moon, they go into the 8th house. I'm not very comfortable with those kind of situations. But with certain aspects of life, with certain aspects of the 7th house, from a partnership perspective, from a relationship perspective, it could turn out positive. Your in-laws could be supporters for you to solve a lot of problems in your married life. They could be nosy as well, but they will help solve things. If it is not into affliction, it's a deadly combination in having very rich well-to-do in-laws as well. Malefic situation or uh, when a debilitation sort of a situation comes into play, then I'm a little worried about it. But yes, there are positives to the eighth house as well. Your partner could be the reason for any sudden gains that might come into your life. But remember, it is the eighth house eventually, and I have to talk about the tricky aspects when it comes to 3, 6, 8, and 12. So there are certain tricky things that are happening here. Now, this is also a situation where your partner could have certain hidden relationships that they might keep secrets. Now, they could be prior to marriage or post marriage. I cannot confirm on that. But there will be very deep hidden secrets, and it's not just sexual relationships, illicit relationships, and affairs that we're talking about. It could be anything, deep hidden secrets about your partner. They could have done something which they are not very comfortable, ashamed of, not very sure of discussing with you, and they might keep it outside your radar. So very high possibility of that happening. And anybody who's telling me that it's in my chart and I know, then you don't know, because it is hidden, right? And they might be very, very successful in hiding it. So all your life you might think that my life is set, but especially if your seventh lord is getting an aspect from a Rahu, very high chances, very, very high chances. If it is an aspect of Rahu into your seventh lord in the eighth house, there's something really deep that you will never find out, and they will be spectacularly good in terms of hiding it. If Rahu and Ketu are sitting in the 2 and 8 axis and seventh lord is sitting in 8th, like Ketu's impact or Rahu's impact, no matter what happens, because it's a very direct impact, they will be very, very good at hiding things from you. If it is a sun, like sun being the lord of seventh, sitting in the sixth sign, Virgo sign, in this, again they might have hidden relationships with very strong people older to them. And I'm not saying everything has to be physical. No, guys, please. It could be any kind of relationship, but they will keep it in hiding. They will not disclose it with you. They might have some sort of business dealings in place. It's a business house. That's what it's getting representation. They might have very secretive relationships and they will never disclose it to anyone. They could have relationships with in a situation of a Rahu or Mars or Ketu, any of those malefics, which can be with mafia sort of people, or they would have worked in some sort of a situation at some point in life. Some sort of play would have been there. So that's another tricky bit. So these are some bits that you have to keep a note of. Now, not something that many people would like, but I would just give a hint of this. If your seventh lord is going into the eighth, it is I advise to somebody, and I've seen coming that to fruition, and not very proud of, but you should definitely get insurance set of things put into play, and be the nominee or the beneficiary, whatever is the term called in your country, because you are going to be very high chances you are going to be benefiting out of it. Okay, so when I said your spouse is going to bring in sudden gains, this is another possibility which will come into play. Now we'll talk about seventh lord going into the ninth house. Very interesting. It's again going into another dharma house, and just like the fifth house, another beautiful connection. However, now what's happening is it is going 3 places away from itself. What does it mean? That you will be putting in efforts towards your partner to get married. This is a connection that you will get married with your own efforts. Now, I'm not saying, guys, that this is a combination for love marriage only. Please understand. A lot of times people have situations where they are getting old, or maybe, sorry, that's not the right way to put it. Maybe like they are past a certain age, and then they really, things have been delayed in terms of marriage in their life. And you will find that they have to go out and find the right relevant partner for themselves through an arranged setup or through love marriage with their own efforts. You might have to create a dating profile or a matrimonial profile and arrange for your own things, find that setup, and then have the two families talk together and get married. Or you might meet somebody through your own efforts in your family connection, especially on your father's side or through your father's effort, and that is where you could get married, or in your your boss or your guru or your mentor could be playing a critical role in terms of finding you that partner. This is from a marriage perspective. The other side is that from a business relationship standpoint, for any other connection, you will enjoy good success when you work with a guru, with your mentor, with your boss, with your superiors, with your fatherly figures. But you will have to continuously put in efforts. You will have to bend a bit. Let your ego go in this case and succumb to what is coming from the other side, because it is going to be beneficial from you for you. You are going to find growth in it's a kendra to trine trikon connection. It's a Lakshmi Narayan yoga. It's a dhan yoga. You are going to do well financially. Please understand this. But it's tricky because it is going three places away. So you will have to show your ability to succumb to it, to work towards it, to be open to grasp certain feedback and assimilate that in your life, and then you will find that success. In this case, if your father comes and recommends you to get married to a certain guy or a certain girl, please go for it. It's going to be a very, very good recommendation for you. It may not be a good recommendation if it is coming in from your mother, okay, because it is 6 from the 4th house, 9th house, okay. Relationship of your spouse with your mother might not be great, but with your father will be awesome. So that is going to be another way where you'll have to understand how it's going to work in terms of family dynamics as well. This person, you could meet your spouse, or rather, you will find that post your marriage, you will move away. There will be a shift in residence that will happen post your marriage. Either there will be a change in job, so you might have to relocate to a different country or a different city. There will be some sort of growth that will come into play, and that will result into a change of residence for you. You will have to relocate. So that thing will also be, travel will be like very critical in this sort of a relationship. Like, one is the shift of residence, then a lot of getaways, lots of traveling, lots of vacation taking, because now this Lord is aspecting the 3rd house as well, right? So you will find that thing will also come into play, and this could be because of another aspect is, again in this case, you partnering with your spouse to start something of your own, which requires you to travel or is related to travel and tourism industry, is not a bad idea as well. That is another possibility that you can find, and you will succeed with that. So explore that. That is good, especially if you have moon coming into play, that will bring that possibility, travel possibility for you, and that business is going to be good. Of course, you have to see from a profession business aspect other placements in chart as well, but I wanted to give you an idea as to how you got to think as to what thing is going to pan out for you. 3 places away means that that there will be a possibility of some sort of a connect with your siblings introducing, or there is a very interesting possibility of your younger sibling getting married before you. I would actually advise, if somebody has this and they're not getting married, they should actually ask their siblings to start dating, or like somehow, like the siblings romance or this thing gets triggered, their life is going to get settled if you are having delays. Because I was telling you, you have to put in your own efforts. It's going to be third. So if you are having a sibling, ask them to get married first. A lot of times, their siblings delay their own marriages because the elder sibling is not getting married. In so many cultures that happens. Recommendation for you is, let your sibling get married or start dating, whatever, and then you will find a very good partner for you. The last bit is that I don't see again too many tricky situations out of this. The only call out is that if Saturn is here in the 9th there, and I was referring in the previous section, that lady who had the situation where she had an extramarital affair and her husband had Saturn in the 9th house. Saturn in the 9th is going to eventually lead you towards celibacy, or rather renunciation of the materialism. So the sannyas yoga and something can be seen through Saturn. That is a very strong possibility. So you have to keep that in mind. And like I do not like to comment on people's decision that whether they should marry or not. A lot of times people ask me these kind of questions, that is there a marriage promised in my chart or not, and should I get married or not? I have an exalted Venus, is that going to lead into a happy marriage or turbulent marriage? See, a lot of times exalted planets don't give good results versus the debilitated ones, especially if they are having niche bhanga. But coming back to the point of Saturn, if Saturn is sitting here, there's a very, very strong possibility that it could result into this kind of a situation. Now, of course, you have to see what sign, what aspects are coming into play. Say it is with Venus, chances are low, minimalistic. So you will have to understand, but yes, that is another possibility or tricky situation that I would say that you have to keep in mind. Now, when the seventh lord is going to the 10th house, it is going 4 places away from itself. 7th to 10th, another Kendra to Kendra connection, and calm to earth. 4 places away. Your spouse is going to be the favorite of your mom. Your spouse is going to be nurturing, caring, kind, loving nature. He or she is going to be, again, is going to help you raise your status, because you need to understand it is going 4 places away, but to your status, to your public image, to your karma. They will be the pillar behind you to help you grow, to push you, giving you the right motivation. They say that behind every successful man, there is a woman. This woman, this man is having his 7th lord sitting in the 10th house. And this woman is the one who's supporting him. So in this particular situation, you will see that there will be a definite rise in your career, in your status, in your respect. You could actually explore something which is of public domain. You might get into high visibility sort of a profession as well, or your profession might see a certain rise. Promotion might happen because of your partner entering in your life. You were stuck in the wheel and nothing was moving in that rut, but you see the positive outcomes suddenly tickling in down for you because you got married. Very good yoga for that matter. I don't see many negatives in this case. Fourth from here means that this person is going to help in the, like, this person will not be a spendthrift. This person will be the one who will be you ask for their help and they will figure out strategies to grow your wealth. They want to add, they want to accumulate. Those women, as they say, are multipliers, right? And I'm saying women specifically because it is applicable to all women. You give them X and they make it X square or X exponential. And this is exactly what's going to happen. Even a guy, if as a female you are seeing this, your husband would be a person who will bring such sort of a situation in life in terms of the right guidance, mentorship, knowledge. 4th house represents knowledge, guys. They will be very, very knowledgeable, and they will, with their knowledge, they will help you give the right guidance to grow. The first 7th to the 1st house and 7th in the 7th house, I talked about how the dynamics of guidance is working. But in this case, your spouse again is going to bring a lot of knowledge, wealth with them, and you have to leverage that. Now you have to figure out the strategy to leverage that knowledge from them. They will also be the favorite of their own mother, favorite kid of their own mother. Very good bonding they will enjoy with their own mom. Because see, your 10th house is the house of your mother-in-law as well, right? So they will have a very strong bonding. It is 7th to the 4th, and it is 4th to the 7th. So they will have very strong bonding. Now, this person will, again, the kind of discussions or remedy or whatever you might want to say, I mean, this combination will not require any remedy as such, but what you would want to keep in mind is that the kind of conversations your partner will enjoy, a trait you might want to think or see, is they would like a lot of depth. Like, they want to talk very deep topics which touch their emotions, their psyche, and that is how they will open up. Romance to them is, there are these 5 acts of love. to them is the kind of time you give them in terms of this communication. It is going to be paramount critical to them. So I hope this is relevant and you resonate with what we are saying. If you do, please drop in the comments. I would love to know. Now, when the seventh lord is going into the 11th house, it is going 5 places away from itself. A lot of people are scared of this, but I have both positive and negative view towards this. So the positive thing is, guys, it is going 5 places away. Your partner is your karmic connection. There was something that was left in the previous life. There was something that was not done and had to be done, is why you found your partner in this life through this connection. It is different from what happens when the seventh lord is going into the 5th house. Here it is going to the 11th and aspecting the 5th. Yes, marriage is going to bring growth of your kids, good, healthy, blossoming family. It is going into the house of gains. Your spouse is a person who is going to bring gains to your life. He or she would be the person who is going to be the reason or backbone of wish fulfillment. Whatever you want to achieve, they have come here in this life to help you achieve that. That is their purpose. So again, in this case, whether you share it with your partner or not, they will be keen, they will be motivated to figure out how they help you achieve your dreams, achieve your objectives, achieve your goals. There will be a remarkable improvement in your uh, income stream post you get married. Your uh, network circle is going to expand post marriage. You might not be a very outgoing person, you might be reserved in a small coterie of friends, but in this case, you would want to expand your social circle post your marriage. You would want to show off. Your spouse could be popular in your social circle. Maybe he or she is uh, very good looking, or like your husband is very well to do, has some key achievements and stuff, something of that sort. Like, they will have a lot of fan following or respect, whatever you want to say it, in your network. People would like your spouse if seventh lord is going into the 11th. It is also a case where your spouse will bring a lot of caring, nurturing attitude towards your uh, kids. They are going to be the reason that will ignite creativity in you. You might pick up writing, you might pick up some sort of music, you might start singing for them, even while dating or post marriage. The romance in this case will be depicted through creativity in your marriage. It's a beautiful thing. So you are going to see that expression of love will evolve for you as a person once you get married. That there will be some level of creativity in this relationship. You would want to do things differently, not the normal way. Like, it's not just a date night for the sake of having a date night. That date night will have to have some sort of differentiated oomph, X factor to your relationship, and you will enjoy that. And it's a good karmic connection because there was some debt, some undone promises from your spouse in the past life that they have come here to fulfill in this life. But there is a challenge as well, guys. All these combinations are coming with some of the other problems, and the problem is that it is either gains through your marriage, through your married partner, or it could be gains of a married partner. So this is a combination that could result into multiple marriages. That can be tricky unless and until, especially if the planet is debilitated. The seventh lord is debilitated. There are very high chances of multiple marriages. Of course, you have to see the ninth house as well in this case for the second marriage, and then 11th house and their strength and aspects to it. But if there's this cancellation of debilitation that happens, Neej Bhanga is happening in case of the seventh lord, then that might be taken away. Or if Venus is aspecting, or if Jupiter is aspecting, as I was referring before about the seventh house itself, then all those problems will be taken care of. So it is important for you to see if those aspects are coming into play or not. But if not, then it could result into multiple marriages of this person, of the native. Of course, you'll have to figure out the strength of your sixth house as well to see that how bad or good placed your house of divorce is. This is going to bring in a connection of where your spouse's profession could blossom if he or she is associated with the creative field. That is another bit. Your spouse could be older than you as well, especially if it is a Saturn sort of a situation. You might have an older spouse in terms of age. That is a very, very high probability. Or not just older in terms of age, it could also be in terms of their principles and value system that they might follow. When seventh lord is moving into the 12th house, it's going 6 places away from itself. It is going into the house of unknown enemies. It is going into the house of foreign lands. It is going into the house of expenses. You might find a spouse, and I will not say it is a positive or a negative thing, but you might find a spouse who's spendthrift, who likes to spend lavishly on brands, especially Venus going there. But if Venus is the lord of seventh, say Taurus, and it is going into the 12th house in its own sign, then they could do pretty well as well. They could be buying luxurious brands, but they would be able to afford them as well. So it is a good situation. It is not always bad, guys. But yes, they would like to spend. They would like to spend on luxuries. They would have certain spiritual bent of mind. They could help you grow, uplift your, bring growth in your, spirituality as well. There is a very strong possibility of you forming a connection with somebody who's from a different land or a different culture or religion as well, in this case. Because especially if Rahu is aspecting your, if your seventh lord, or if Rahu is even aspecting your Dara Karaka, then also there is a very high chances that you will get married to somebody from a different culture. In case of Dara Karaka, and let's say it is a combination both in case of Dara Karaka and your seventh lord or Venus, then very high chances it could be different religion. This is a situation where your spouse could have, see, the relationship in your marriage will not be easy. When seventh lord is going to 12th, the relationship will be troubled. There will be a lot of fights. I'm not saying this is a resultant of divorce, but it could, if malefics are impacting, yes, that could be another possibility coming into play. But there will be a lot of quarrels, disputes. Health situation of your spouse might not be good. He or she might be having definitely certain medical situation which will remain hidden for a long time, because 12th is unknown enemies, and enemies just doesn't mean a human enemy. It could be a medical issue as well. They could, I was watching this Ramsey show, and there was this girl who got married to a guy who was very successfully, did not disclose to her that he was carrying a debt of about $150,000, if I remember correctly. You might, this is a very strong possibility, guys. Very important. If you have your seventh lord sitting in 12th, please do a financial check of your spouse before you get married. They might be bringing in debt or some financial troubles with them into the marriage. It's a very, very important thing that you have to keep a note of. If this is a thing in your chart, you have to figure out whether or not your spouse is at least financially balanced before you guys got married. Post marriage, it's a different thing. You guys have to fight it together. Remember, sixth connection, it's all about fighting as well. In this case, you have to battle it out with your partner to overcome it. So you have to show that stature. Not everything should be negative. But yes, medical situation, financial situation, unknown, unexpected, unseen. You have to address that bit. Connection with a foreign land, spiritual upliftment, spendthrift habit, all can be taken care of as long as we are addressing these bits. If, like I gave you the example of Venus, if that sort of a situation is happening, then you will see it's going to be much more beneficial. Like a lot of these negatives will have an auto cancellation coming into play. Now, I want you to remember, when we are watching these videos, we're just thinking of one aspect of the seventh lord moving into different houses. But we have to also keep in mind that multiple of these planets, other than sun and moon, they have the ownership of some other house as well. So that impact will also come into play, and you don't have to read it unilaterally in one direction. So I hope this has made some sense. You've liked this video. If you have, please smash on that like button, subscribe to my channel, and stay connected with Vedic Astrology. Thank you, guys. Nice talking to you. Bye-bye.